Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Eric in the Card Closet. Thank you so much for joining me again tonight for another episode. This is episode 379. So our guest tonight will be none other than Mr. Tony Perez. Tony Perez has 379 career home runs. I picked this 1980 Topps card because, believe it or not, when I think of Tony Perez, I think of him on the Expos. I'm not old enough to remember him on the Reds. And my first 2 years where I was really opening a lot of packs, 1979, 1980, Tony Perez was on the Expos. And so I think of the Expos when I think of Tony Perez. But Tony Perez, great player, Hall of Famer. Like I said, 379 career home runs. He was an RBI machine. He had 90 or more RBIs 13 times. I think he ended up with the high 1600s for RBIs. So great player, long career, 23 years. And like I said before, I love it when a superstar / future Hall of Famer near the end of their career puts in a couple years with my favorite team, because then I have an excuse to get some of their cards in my team set collection. So Tony Perez played 3 years, 1980 through 1982 with the Red Sox. So I've got a handful of Tony Perez on the Red Sox cards, which is really, really cool. So interesting story about Tony Perez. He was on the Big Red machine, and he was first baseman for their back-to-back championships in 1975 and 1976. And then he went to Montreal for 1977. And Sparky Anderson, a few years later, admitted that he had totally misread the leadership situation for the Reds in those championship years. He thought the true leaders of the club were Joe Morgan and Johnny Bench, and that Perez leaving would not disrupt anything more than just, losing his bat in the lineup. But if you know your Reds history, they never got to that level again after 1976 when Tony Perez left. And Sparky Anderson admitted years later, Tony Perez was the glue of the Big Red machine, and he says he never saw it at the time, didn't realize it until Perez was gone. And by that time, of course, it was too late. So anyway, let's start with the episode. The topic is going to be my COMC experience with their support line. I think I mentioned quickly in my last video that I had purchased a Topps Chrome Prism refractor of Mookie Betts on COMC as a part of a 200 sub card order that came, and they sent me the refractor, not the Prism refractor. So I don't have the Betts, but this is the difference. If you're not familiar with more of the modern cards, the Prism refractor has those scales, that snakeskin look to it, and just a straight refractor just has the rainbow refraction on the flat surface. So I ordered this of Mookie Betts, and I got this of Mookie Betts. So I contacted them and was told I had to pick a time slot in their calendar, which I did, and that was last week Thursday. The night before, so late Wednesday afternoon, the day before, I got an email saying, unfortunately, we will not be able to resolve this issue over the phone. Please send us a picture, front and back, of the card, and also a picture of the little receipt slip that comes with the cards that you get from COMC, and send it to this email address, and we'll resolve it via email. So I did that. I took a picture of the front of the Betts, picture of the back of the Betts, took a picture of the little receipt. This isn't the Betts receipt, but for those of you that haven't bought from COMC, they actually put one of these in every card you buy, in the penny sleeve or the top loader. If it's a slab card, then they actually tape this to the back of the slab. So part of the reason I think COMC is so slow with their shipping is that they have to put one of these on every single card that is purchased from them. So anyway, I sent all that information to them early Thursday morning before work. I was watching my phone about the time they were supposed to call. They didn't call. I knew they weren't. They said they wouldn't, but I was just kind of curious anyway. And then I waited. I didn't hear anything over the weekend until, what was it? Until yesterday. Because I remember thinking, oh, they're working on a holiday. So yesterday I got an email from them saying, we're so sorry. This item was mislabeled or mislisted, I think is the actual term they use. It was mislisted. Please return it to this address and we will reimburse you shipping and we'll also reimburse you the card. Okay, fine. You know, when you give somebody their money back, you're off the hook. I looked up the card and I bought it for $12.75 and the cheapest one on COMC right now is $22. So it's going to cost me a little bit in the pocketbook if I choose to still get that card. I won't spend $22 for it. But anyway, I packaged it all up, sent it over my lunch hour today, and the Mookie Betts card is on its way back, so I'll be watching. They say it can take 4 to 6 weeks to process returns, and that means 4 to 6 weeks from now, I expect to get my $12.75 back. Choosing to be optimistic about this one. They say it was mislisted. The nice thing about COMC is you can go look at the cards you bought in the past. You could pull them up. The listing said prism refractor. The picture is obviously a prism refractor. Even though their pictures don't catch that rainbow, you could still see the scales. You could still see the outline of those scales on like over in this area. This is what you could see, that it definitely was scaly. Now, if you look at that same area over here on a refractor, if I can get the rainbow to show up in that area there's no scales. It's just flat. So the picture was obviously a prism refractor. The listing said prism refractor. Not sure how it was mislisted. But anyway, they're giving me my money back. They're very, very polite in the emails about it, very apologetic. Other than having to wait 4 to 6 weeks for my refund and having my scheduled phone call canceled, it wasn't a terrible experience. Let's just put it that way. So I'll still be on the look for Mookie. I had to write up a little note with the return. And so I actually had to find a piece of paper and a pen and basically wrote them a letter explaining what was going on. I can't tell you the last time I actually wrote a letter in pen and paper. It felt kind of weird, actually. So I told them what was going on. I said that, if you've still got that Betts prism refractor around there, because, if you sent me the wrong one, maybe the right one is still there, and if it's still there, I'd prefer that over a refund. So I don't think they're going to do that. I think by calling it mislisted, that gets them off the hook for having to see if they're off the hook more than if they say we sent the wrong one, because then they'd have more responsibility to make it right than just give your money back. So on a related note, while this was all going on, I decided I'm going to start giving sports slots a try. COMC has competition, and I usually use COMC for, filler stuff, trying to complete team sets, full sets, shiny stuff of certain player, getting runs of those. And sports slots is good for that same exact thing. The disadvantage with sports slots is you pay shipping for each item that you buy, but the advantage is they send it right away. So over the weekend, I made 12 sports slot purchases, things I would have bought on COMC, and 3 of them have arrived. So this is how, there's nothing big here, but just to show you that COMC does have competition. A lot of the sellers, their shipping is 52 cents or $1.75, a lot of cheap shipping. So if you get the card cheap and with cheap shipping, you can get them for the price that you pay at COMC. but not everything, just certain ones. A lot of them I had to pass on because COMC is still a better deal. So filling in some shiny team set stuff there. I've got 9 more coming, and definitely due to this experience with COMC, I'm at least going to consider sports lots more often now than I have in the past, which was never. One last thing going on in my sports card world. I got the annual Kit Young Hits the Road newsletter today, and he is going to be in South Dakota somewhere between the 30th, July 3 and July 30. And so I emailed him today, this evening, just before making this video. I sent an email, info@kityoung.com, and just said, hey, I got 44,000 cards I'd like to move, and some of them are pre-1980. A lot of them are, but not all of them by any means. So I shot a few questions like, do you only buy baseball? Because I only see baseball on his flyer. And then I said, do you buy anything after 1980? If he says no, it's probably not going to be worth having him stop by my house here and look over my collection, because the bulk of what I've got is 1970s and first half of the 80s. A lot of stuff where I had started building sets and then ended up buying the whole set and at a really good price and was left with all these doubles. So I'll let you know how he replies. Looks like his prices are pretty decent. They seem pretty comparable. What he'll pay seems very comparable to what my local card shop said he would pay. But if they're willing to drive up and haul it all away for me, leave me cash, I'm all for that. So I'll keep you updated on how that goes. Probably not worth a trip for him if it's just going to be pre-1980 and baseball only, because a lot of the good stuff I have is in other sports. So anyway, that is the episode, folks. Talk to you again soon. Thanks for giving me your time this evening. Appreciate you all. Bye.